Rebirth to 80s, Daughter-in-Law is a bit spicy. Chapter 1, Broken Shoes, Get Out. Xia Xiaolan was awakened by crying. She remembered that she led her subordinates to complete a very difficult merger and acquisition case, and then participated in the celebration party. With the frequent persuasion of her subordinates, Xia Xiaolan also drank too much. But the consciousness is not completely confused. On the way home, I heard the new assistant and her boyfriend call, "I'm sending Mr. Xia back. She lives alone, not married. You said Mr. Xia is a woman and earns so much. What's the use of money, didn't you marry yourself out?" Xia Xiaolan was half drunk and half awake, and didn't care about it face to face with her new assistant. No matter how successful the career is, without the embellishment of marriage, strong women are always easy to be chewed. In particular, Xia Xiaolan has a strong style and plain appearance. Someone in the company said that she was ugly and old and had a high-sightedness. Only if she can marry a ghost. Xia Xiaolan doesn't care about someone talking about her personal life, but the new assistant has a lax mouth. She was also stupid, thinking she was drunk and dared to talk about her boss gossip in front of her. I'd better transfer people away in 2 days and get a new assistant. When I got home, my nanny Zhang, Auntie Zhang, babbled to let Xia Xiaolan drink less and the woman to cherish herself more. Xia Xiaolan threw herself on the soft big bed and fell asleep immediately. She had a strange dream, dreaming that she had become another person. The background was in the 1980s. Some bad things happened in the dream. When she got angry, she hit the pillar. Xia Xiaolan thought it was funny. She was not the kind of suicidal character at all, just those things in her dreams. Judging from Xia Xiaolan's years of hard work experience, it was a fart. But this dream is too clear. There was a woman crying in a low voice in Xia Xiaolan's ear, which made her have a splitting headache. She didn't know what was going on in the quilt. She was so damp and uncomfortable. Xia Xiaolan felt that she was soaked in sweat. After finally opening her eyes, she was startled by a black and yellow face. "Xiaolan, are you awake? You girl, you want to scare mom to death." "Ooh, Xiaolan, do you still have a headache?" Black and yellow face, thin body that can be blown down by a gust of wind. Xia Xiaolan thought, why hasn't this dream been woken up yet? The woman's tears were streaming down. "Xiaolan, promise mom, we won't do stupid things." Xia Xiaolan nodded indiscriminately, and the woman wiped her tears with her sleeve, with a smile on her sad face. "Mom will get you food, you wait." The woman brought the door to the room, and Xia Xiaolan endured the headache and looked at the surrounding environment. The black lacquered wooden bed, the straw under the mat rustles, and the yellowed mosquito nets are rolled by the iron hooks on both sides of the bed pillars. There are 4 patches on the washed and faded quilt, 1 on the side of the bed. A thin rope is connected to a simple electric light. Xia Xiaolan pulled the rope, and the light turned on. It is estimated that there is not even 15 watts, and the room is still very dark. She endured a headache and got out of bed. The only decent furniture in the room was the dressing table by the window, and a small face was reflected in the glass mirror, a pointed chin, big eyes, and a tall and delicate nose. Nothing was beautiful. Bloody white gauze was still wrapped around her head, adding to the softness that I saw. Xia Xiaolan took a breath. This is what people often say about the appearance of a fox. Of course this is not her face. If Mr. Xia had such a beautiful face, he wouldn't have to be chewed behind his back. Xia Xiaolan smiled, and the person in the mirror smiled. The rippling eyes made people feel soft. Xia Xiaolan grinned and made a strange expression, and the face in the mirror was actually not ugly. This is very bullying. Xia Xiaolan remembered her original appearance, saying that her appearance was flattering, but she actually looked a bit ugly without spending a lot of money on packaging. This world is not all about face. The higher the level, the more important the strength. But she was born in poverty, and she had no external resources to borrow, and the early struggle was really difficult. When she worked hard, she was also in business, and the good-looking female salesperson had the professional level of a fart, and she could get the order if she was scornful. She stays up every day to learn professional knowledge, but she can't even see a person in charge. If she looks a little better, maybe she doesn't have to work hard for 20 years to taste the taste of success. The house, car, savings, and position did not enjoy the family business she worked so hard for too long. She just slept, and she turned into another Xia Xiaolan with the same name and surname. He lived in 1983, just turned 18 this year, has a pretty vixen face, but can't figure out the Xia Xiaolan who wants to hit the pillar and commit suicide. The original Xia Xiaolan died. I don't know why. 30 years later, Xia Xiaolan woke up in this body. The memories she received in her sleep were messy, but Xia Xiaolan felt the same. Crunch. The door was pushed open, and the skinny, black and yellow woman came in with a painted enamel jar. Xiaolan, Mom steamed the eggs for you, hurry up and eat them while they are hot. The woman is cautious, even a little humble, she is Xia Xiaolan's mother Lu Fun. Xia Xiaolan opened her mouth, and still didn't call out, Mom. She didn't know what attitude to treat Lu Fun with. In her memory, Xia Xiaolan had a very bad attitude towards Lu Fun. Should you continue to be an unfilial girl, or should you take the opportunity to say that you have broken your mind and change your mind to be a good daughter? Xia Xiaolan was still hesitating, and the half-covered door was pushed aside roughly. A few people rushed into the room, the leader of whom was Xia Xiaolan's grandmother, with 2 daughters-in-laws other than Lu Fun and several grandchildren and grandchildren. Old Lady Xia with high cheekbones was breathing fire in her eyes. She snatched the enamel cup from Lu Fun's hand and knocked Lu Fun down. You gave birth to a little who broke Xia's shoes, and humiliated Xia's family, and dared to steal her eggs for her to eat? Call her a fake and hit the stigma. When the old lady is scared. If you want to die, die, banging your head is useless and you can jump into the river. The vicious tone of the tone is not the kind tone that a grandmother should have, but rather like Xia Xiaolan's enemy. Lu Fun crawled to the feet of Granny Xia and held on to her mother-in-law's trousers. Mother, the child has just woke up, you leave her away to survive. Hashtag Mengzinda, please support it. Rebirth to 80s, daughter-in-law is a bit spicy chapter 2, then kick me out. President Xia gasped in his heart. She failed to call that mother out, but Lu Fun kneeled down to beg for her. She is now Xia Xiaolan, inheriting the identity and most of the memory of the original owner, but she feels aggrieved by the experience of the original owner. Xia Xiaolan has a vixen face, but a vase with an empty head. She smiles and smiles. A little charming, after 30 years, she is definitely a popular stunner. In the 1980s, she was called frivolous. Rural people don't know how to use such high-end adjectives, they just describe Xia Xiaolan, wave. Because of this appearance, Xia Xiaolan's reputation is usually not very good. She also acted to rob her cousin Xia Ziyu. She stripped off the scandal of seducing her future brother-in-law in broad daylight. Not only was she drowned by the spit star in the village, even the Xia family could not tolerate her. There is still something to be said about the object to be robbed. There is really no such thing as seduce the future brother-in-law after being stripped off in broad daylight. That is to say, no one believed it, and some people vowed to say that Xia Xiaolan not only seduced her brother-in-law, but also rolled around in the haystack with the early Uzi from the next village. The rumors spread all over the village, even the 4-mile and 8 townships. Xia Xiaolan couldn't argue with her words, and the Xia family helped her, and Xia Xiaolan finally chose to hit the pole to commit suicide. President Xia is very knowledgeable, knowing that there are too many unjust cases in the world, how can she mix everything up? But now that she has become Xia Xiaolan, this pot is not willing to recite. The Xia family looked hideous and wanted to kill her. The woman kneeling on the ground is the mother of this body and the person who loves the original owner most in the Xia family. Xia always doesn't plan to bear it anymore. Mom, get up first. She pulled Lu Fun on the ground hard, and Lu Fun didn't struggle for fear of touching her wound. I really called out that, Mom, and it didn't seem to be as difficult as I thought. President Xia admires Xia Xiaolan most for 2 reasons. One is that she is beautiful, but she is not so pretty. Second, there is a mother who loves her very much, and Xia's parents died when she was a child. She has never enjoyed this kind of affection. She is Mr. Xia, the strong woman. It was also in the 1980s that Xia Xiaolan committed suicide in rumors. There is no chance to choose, only the two identities can be combined into one. Xiaolan, listen to what Mom said, and confess your mistake. Lu Fen's face was full of sorrow. Lu Fen has always been angry with her mother-in-law, her wife, and her husband and daughter. He likes to be submissive and tolerant. It's a pity that no one in the Xia family eats her set. The more tolerant, the more these people bully her. The original owner is not a good thing at this point. Old Lady Xia screamed, I don't have a granddaughter who is a shoebreaker, a shameless little bitch, and I want a Ziyu's object. Xia Xiaolan's temples jumped suddenly. As her position got higher and higher, she hadn't confronted the low-ranking vixen for many years. However, Xia Xiaolan's skill in tearing up the beautiful female salesman and punching the supplier who owes the money is still there. Grandma! She yelled with all her strength, and finally overwhelmed Granny Xia temporarily. You don't recognize me as a granddaughter, but I want to call you Grandma. I am full of affection for our old Xia family. You are scolded by a little with torn shoes. Don't you wait for the villagers to watch our house lively. I don't have much reputation. The sisters in the family have to marry. Isn't it a shame to be sisters with broken shoes? Xia Xiaolan really didn't understand, was partial and didn't pay attention to tactics, wounded 1,000 enemies and 800, and the family's inconsistency caused her to be trampled to death. In the countryside, Xia Xiaolan's reputation is not good. Who can raise her head if the unmarried daughter of the Xia family can raise her head? Mrs. Xia was choked immediately, and Aunt Xia Xiaolan's expression was also ugly. The three older girls in the family, Xia Ziyu, 20 years old, not only got admitted to the university, but also found a match. Xia Xiaolan was 18 years old, she looked like she couldn't get married, and her third aunt's eldest daughter was also 17 years old, and she was about to talk about her husband's family. The third aunt really hated Xia Xiaolan's teeth, and she had to lower her voice, gritted her teeth and said. You still have the face to say that Hongxia in our house was delayed by you, why don't you die? Her cousin Xia Hongxia was full of resentment, and she was eager to try behind her mother. Lu Fen flushed with anger, her aunt, Xiaolan just woke up. Lu Fen's thin body stood in front of her daughter, trying to argue with others, but was cowardly, and couldn't say a word smoothly when being run. Xia Xiaolan gently pulled Lu Fen behind her, don't worry, I won't quarrel with them, I am a reasonable person. Old Lady Xia really wanted to pinch the debt collector in front of her, but the debt collector didn't know it. She glanced around, and laughed, I hit the pillar once and didn't accept me. Now I plan to live well. I am. To live well, who told me to be unhappy? I'll let him unhappy first. You said I stayed at home and everyone was unhappy, why should I move out? Move out? Where can I move? Lu Fen was in a hurry, how could an unmarried girl move out? Xia Xiaolan didn't kill her, she was more difficult to deal with than before, and she almost fainted with the appearance of a hob. But Xia Xiaolan was never submissive. Old Lady Xia was tricky and her third aunt was mean, and Xia Xiaolan herself was not easy to provoke. The third aunt wished that Xia Xiaolan would go away a little bit, so as not to be embarrassed at home. Where can you move? Don't want to go to your grandma's house to shelter from the limelight, you will be back in a few days. It was just right to move out. The room at home was not well stocked. Xia Xiaolan still occupies a room by herself, and just came out of a house. The third aunt looked at this clean but broken house, and planned to let her daughter Xia Hongxia move in. If you want to marry, you should have your own house. Isn't there an old house on the river beach at home? One village at the beginning and the end of the village, so I will live there so that everyone will look at me. Xia Xiaolan said her original plan. Old Lady Xia was reluctant to say, you are embarrassed, and you are considered good if you didn't kill you, so you still have a room for you to live in. Although the old house on the river beach was crumbling, mosquitoes were often cold in summer, and the cowshed next to the village smelled great, Mrs. Xia just didn't want to painfully agree to make Xia Xiaolan too comfortable. She always felt that something changed after Xia Xiaolan woke up. It's still messy, but there is a trick. Granny Xia is very sensitive and doesn't want Xia Xiaolan to get out of her control. Xia Xiaolan smiled, then I won't move. It's fine to have food and drink at home. Anyway, my reputation is bad, so I can be an old girl at home. The eldest sister is a college student of Jean Gui, and she will never look at her sister when she is hungry. Die. Xia Xiaolan was really too difficult to be entangled, and the aunt, who had never spoken before, also jumped wildly. Xia Xiaolan wants to rely on her son Yu. Oh, the aunt doesn't believe those people. Xiaolan, you are angry with your family now, how can a big girl leave the house to live? The aunt persuades your grandma, we all take a step back and calm down. The auntie pulled old lady Xia out of the door, and the third aunt hurriedly followed. Several juniors in the room looked at Xia Xiaolan with hatred. Lu Fun was crying. Xia Xiaolan sighed. Don't cry, I can't live at home. To bear the insults, the Xia family can't really kill her, but Xia Xiaolan is unwilling to bear it. She has a chance to be born again, why should she live so aggrieved? Before long, Mrs. Xia and the others came in again. The old house is for you. Whether you die or live, you have nothing to do with Lao Xia's family. Xia Xiaolan had to take away Anjia's belongings when she got into the footsteps. Old lady Xia had no choice but to use the hob meat, so she finally threw a small bag of sweet potatoes to her. Hurry up. Rebirth to 80s, daughter-in-law is a bit spicy. Chapter 3, to be fair to you. You can help me mention it. Xia Xiaolan stuffed the bag into Lu Fun's arms, and Lu Fun's face was full of tears. Xiaolan, how can you go out, what if your dad comes back? Lu Fun didn't know how things turned out to be like this. Although her daughter hadn't been made trouble, it was equivalent to being sent out for singles. Driven out of the house, how will a teenage girl live in the future? She wanted to ask Xia Xiaolan to admit a mistake, but she was afraid of irritating Xia Xiaolan. You go out and live with me, and wait until my dad comes back. I don't know how to cook. I will starve to death by myself. Xia Xiaolan didn't plan to leave Lu Fun alone. When she left, the Xia family wouldn't bully Lu Fun hard. She also decided that Lu Fun would be soft-hearted and tough, and she wanted Lu Fun to go with her. The Xia family did not stop Lu Fun. It is estimated that they will wait for Xia Xiaolan's father Xia Dajuan's return to clean up the mother and daughter. Even with the heavy rain, the county is worried that the flood will wash down the river embankment in the neighboring township. They all went to repair the embankment. Lu Fun had no opinion at all, so he followed with a bag of sweet potatoes in a muddle. Xia Xiaolan stepped out and turned back to take the enamel cup containing the steamed eggs. The young grandson of the Xia family had been staring at the steamed eggs and swallowed. He didn't expect to be taken away by Xia Xiaolan, and she cried all of a sudden. A room of people, scolding Xia Xiaolan, coaxing the children, are in a group. As soon as I left the house, fresh air came over. There is no smog, no pollution, and people who have returned 30 years later know how precious clean air is, and Xia Xiaolan's spirit suddenly shocked. The Xia family broke out in the middle of the day, and I don't know how many people listened to the excitement with their ears erected. Seeing Xia Xiaolan's mother and daughter, those people didn't hide, and pointed at them. Of course, Lu Fun was ignored. They mainly said Xia Xiaolan. Kicked out of the house. Bah, deserve it, even brother-in-law will not let it go. Rolling in the haystack with the Erliu from the neighboring village, the Xia family is so embarrassed. Everyone is surnamed Xia, so her sister was admitted to college, see if she has trouble. Dajuan Xia will definitely be beaten to death when he comes back. Having beaten and scolded, she just doesn't change her mind. Look at her walking, her twisted. Xia Xiaolan really wanted to beat up all these long-tongued village women, is she twisting her ass, she's so hungry and weak. These 8 wives destroyed the good mood brought by the fresh air. Xia Xiaolan looked at the surrounding environment. The pastoral scenery is good. That's also the feeling of appreciation only when the material life is rich. In 1983, the countryside was praised by the local literature scholars. From a glance, there are many mud houses and few red brick houses. The low houses have mud brick walls painted with white lime, and the slogan from 10 years ago is written in red paint. It is a remote day village that is trapped in the hinterland of the motherland and cannot be blown by the spring breeze of reform and opening up. Only reading can break free of this environment. Cousin Xia Xiaolan took the right path. Xia Ziyu was the only college student in Dai village in the 30 years since the founding of the People's Republic of China and the restoration of the college entrance examination. It is conceivable that if Xia Xiaolan hadn't changed her core, since Xia Ziyu was admitted to college, Xia Xiaolan's life and the other party had already been a huge gap. Even if she is scammed by Xia Ziyu, what can she do? One is a female college student in the 1980s with a bright future. No wonder the whole family regards her as a golden phoenix. One has ruined her reputation and has no skill. The difference between cloud and mud. It's no wonder that the Xia family is snobbish and realistic, human nature. For the benefit, the Xia family would stand on Xia Ziyu's side. Xia Xiaolan really didn't understand until the end. It was obviously the men and women who broke the window paper when you came, and she encouraged the man to take the college entrance examination. She also bowed her head and borrowed books from her cousin Xia Ziyu to study hard for the man, and personally sent him to the county for examinations. After the exam, there was no abnormality. Why did he become Xia Ziyu's official public object after the admission notice arrived? Is it because she is not worthy of Wang Jianhua? Choosing a cousin is correct in the long run. College students are a match made in heaven. But before you leave, why do you still step on Xia Xiaolan? How did the rumors that killed people spread all over the country? Xia Xiaolan went to Wang Jianhua for verification, only to find that only Xia Ziyu was in Wang Jianhua's room. Xia Ziyu was more reasonable than Xia Xiaolan, not soft or hard. In other words, let Xia Xiaolan turn around and leave. On the road, I ran into a second-rate son in the next village. This person had been entangled with Xia Xiaolan before. This time he was even bolder and directly tore the sleeve of Xia Xiaolan. Wang Jianhua and Xia Ziyu appeared together. Wang Jianhua seemed to be disappointed with Xia Xiaolan. Not only did he not listen to Xia Xiaolan's excuse, but he also took Xia Ziyu's hand directly. Are the rumors released by the second lure in the neighboring village? This year is the year of the crackdown. You can send second-rate men to death every minute. It doesn't matter, since she was reborn on this body with the same name and surname, she will figure it out and seek justice for the original owner. By the river beach, the old dilapidated house appeared in sight. The fence door fell crookedly, there was no chain on the door, and there were holes in the wall and roof. Lu Fun was at a loss with the sweet potato in his arms. This is not a place to shelter from wind and rain at all. Xiaolan, listen to your mother's advice. Xia Xiaolan covered her head. Mom, my wound hurts again. She called more and more smoothly, and Lu Fun really diverted her attention. The wound is cracked. Let Mom have a look. The door was unlocked, the room was messy, and there were only shelves left in the bed. Lu Fun asked Xia Xiaolan to eat the steamed eggs quickly. The eggs were cold and smelly, and Xia Xiaolan didn't want to eat alone, and said that she was full after only eating half of it. You can eat the rest, and it will be broken tomorrow. Lu Fun held the enamel tank in a mixed mood. This kind of thing has never happened before, and her daughter smashed her head, as if she knew how to feel sorry for others. Lu Fun is both gratified and sad. Your dad will be back in 2 days. Speaking of her husband, Lu Fun couldn't help but shrank his shoulders, and he was scared in his bones. Rebirth to 80s, daughter-in-law is a bit spicy. Chapter 4, the same surname has no fate. Xia Xiaolan's own father, Xia Dajuan, is a clumsy man who can use his hands and never move his mouth. Grabbing ditches and fighting for fields, Xia Dajuan is strong, and he is a good gun that the old Xia family points to where to shoot. Xia Xiaolan thought, Xia Dajuan was almost too big-headed, and he was a big hammer if he only cared about the big family and the small family. The 3 brothers of the Xia family, Xia Dajuan came second, and were the only brothers who did not give birth to a son. Xia Dajuan felt that he could not raise his head without a son, and often cursed Lu Fun. He would even do something after drinking. It is Xia Xiaolan's own daughter, who is also a loser in his eyes. Don't blame Xia Dajuan's ambition for Xia Xiaolan's exotic goods. The aesthetics of the times are limited. Xia Xiaolan looks good, but the fox looks only appeal to the younger generation, but the elders of the posterity don't like Xia Xiaolan's appearance. At first glance, they are restless, and the whole family who is disturbed by marrying in the door is restless. On the contrary, Xia Xiaolan's cousin, Xia Ziyu, has an egg-shaped face, thick eyebrows and big eyes, and looks dignified. Who wouldn't say that she looks like a good girl? Xia Xiaolan is a straw bag. Xia Ziyu was not particularly smart when she was a child. After finishing junior high school, she suddenly became acquainted. His grades are getting better and better. This year, he was admitted to a university in the capital. The Lao Xia family raised a golden phoenix, which Xia Dejuan disliked. My biological daughter, but loves my niece very much. Xia Jiaqingzhuang ran to repair the river embankment in order to earn living expenses for Xia Ziyu. Xia Ziyu took more than 500 yuan collected by the Xia family to the capital. The Xia family was afraid that she would spend a lot in the capital, and the whole family was like an old scalper. Work hard to support Xia Ziyu, a college student. Xia Xiaolan was miserable. She hit a pillar and didn't even go to the hospital, leaving the barefoot doctor at the health station to wrap her wounds casually. This is really a different fate with the same surname. Thinking of the original owner, President Xia wanted to sigh. Her cousin, who is both excellent in character and academics, is very difficult to deal with. The country folks have no knowledge and do not understand, but Mr. Xia knows that in this era, there is no tuition fee for college. Instead, the country will give every college student a monthly living allowance. There is no problem in solving personal life. In 1983, taking 500 yuan to go to school is definitely Bai Fumei's treatment. Xia Ziyu enjoys Bai Fumei's treatment, but Xia Xiaolan has no objection. But just now I saw a group of Xia family members. No one is as thin as Lu Fun. They can't squeeze too oily water in the pot. It is Xia Ziyu's mother who is also wearing patched clothes, but her face is very ruddy and her hands are not like Lu Fang's. Skinny and full of small cracks. The one who was squeezed the most was Xia Xiaolan's family. Xia Dejuan was willing to be a scalper, but Xia Xiaolan was not convinced for Lu Fun. My dad is back, let's see how he chooses, whether he wants a niece or a daughter. I don't know if Xia Dejuan heard the news about Xia Xiaolan's collision. Xia Xiaolan decided to give the original owner's father a chance. Lu Fun heard something wrong, fearing that Xia Xiaolan and her dad would face each other. Of course your dad loves you, your cousin is. Xia Xiaolan smiled, and Lu Fun lost his confidence as she spoke. I love my nephew more than my daughter, often in rural areas. But Lu Fun has never seen him who cares for his niece more than his daughter. Xia Dejuan really didn't like Xiaolan, because giving birth to Xia Xiaolan made Lu Fun hurt her body and couldn't continue her childbirth. Xia Dejuan blamed her daughter. The mother and daughter fell silent. Xia Xiaolan looked at the ruined house and said, I'll pick up some firewood and come back. She wanted to observe Day village by the way and see where she could get some money. If there is no money in her pocket, she would have no confidence. No matter how good the plan was, she couldn't implement it. Day village is very poor. Of course, in 1983 there were not two endless villages in the country. Poverty is a deep root left over from the geographical environment and history, and it is also a limitation of the times. It is good to eat from the soil to fill your stomach. As the sun sets, there are several women washing clothes by the river. As the name suggests, Day village has a big river flowing through the village. When it comes to resources, the fish in the river are arguably unowned and can be sold for money when they are picked up. The villagers are not afraid to go to the city to sell fish. Fish are born by nature. Naturally, this section of the river belongs to the village. It is the collective property of the villagers. Occasionally catching a few fish to relieve the greed is okay, but selling it is not enough. Xia Xiaolan has no psychological pressure on catching fish secretly and selling it. The only possession of her and Lu Fun is the 20 kilograms of sweet potatoes. What kind of moral and cleanliness are they going to starve to death? It's a pity that she doesn't have the tools or the skill to catch fish with her bare hands. There are thick white flower reeds on both sides of the river. If in May, Xia Xiaolan might still be able to squeeze some reed leaves and sell them to the city people to make rice dumplings. Money won't work. Weave mats, weave back baskets to sell. In the memory of the original owner, people in Day village know a lot of this craft, and every household will make straw mats and baskets during the slack. In the countryside, these things are certainly not at a high price, and in the cities these things are also lacking in competitiveness. These days, everyone is not interested in folk crafts. The people in the cities are eager for meat, eggs, milk and other agricultural and livestock products. Xia Xiaolan stared at the river in a daze. Could it be that she had been among the executives of large companies and could still starve to death in 1983? If she wants to leave the Xia family, she must have the ability to support herself and Lu Fun. Before the 20 kilograms of sweet potatoes are eaten, she needs to get a startup fund. The country is dying, she has to go to the city to find opportunities. The circulation of goods can bring benefits, and rural people have no oil and water. Apart from industrial products such as matches, soap, and fertilizers, rural people in 1983 were completely self-sufficient. Several women by the river pointed to Xia Xiaolan. Xia Xiaolan was thinking about making a living, while picking up the dry branches by the river. There was no time to take care of those long-tongued women. She didn't want to waste her energy arguing with others, so she took a few more steps to the reed beach next to the cowshed. These stinky villagers who cut reed poles were unwilling to come. Xia Xiaolan walked a few steps deeper, and 2 wild ducks flew out from the reeds. They flapped their wings and quacked again, as if they were leading Xia Xiaolan to chase them. Xia Xiaolan's eyes lit up. How could she have been fooled by 2 wild ducks? This is a shock. Sure enough, she carefully searched in the reeds and found a very hidden duck nest. In the nest made of soft grass, blue shell duck eggs are squeezed into a pile. President Xia, who had signed a contract of hundreds of millions of dollars, smirked at a nest of wild duck eggs, and picked up one by one to the light, all of which were fresh eggs that were not half-hatched. There are 12 in total. That's right, she can live by relying on the reeds on the river beach in 1983. Resisting the urge to continue sweeping the reeds, she carried 12 wild duck eggs and returned to the old ruined house with a pile of dry wood. Mom, shall we bake sweet potatoes? Only when you are full can you have the strength to work. Rebirth to 80s, Daughter-in-Law is a bit spicy. Chapter 5, Selling Duck Eggs in the County. 2 people eat 20 kilograms of sweet potatoes, which would not last for a few days. This year's new grain has not come down yet. When Dajun Xia comes back, he must find Lu Fun to go back, but will the Xia family forgive Xiaolan? Lu Fun was thinking about going back to her mother's house tomorrow to find a way. Lu's family was also poor, but Uncle Xia Xiaolan was poor and generous, and would never watch her niece starve to death. Just thinking about it, Xia Xiaolan came back holding a bunch of dry branches with bright eyes and said that she would eat roasted sweet potatoes. Lu Fun sees her in good spirits, and she is willing to suffer no matter how hard she is. Okay, Mom will bake sweet potatoes for you. However, Xia Xiaolan pushed aside the firewood, revealing the wild duck eggs. Lu Fun was also very happy. The wild duck egg was about the same size as an egg, and it was found in the reed stilt. With this little duck egg, Xia Xiaolan can replenish her body. Now that the thin wind can blow it down, Lu Fun feels distressed. Boil you another duck egg. There are no pots and pans in the old broken house, and the country folks don't pay attention to it. Xia Xiaolan stopped her mother. Duck eggs can't be eaten now. Our good days fall on the wild duck eggs. Now the villagers are worried about the grain in the fields and have no time to cut the reeds. I want to find more wild duck eggs to get them. Sell it in the city. Tonight we will go to the reeds, and it would be nice to be able to catch 2 wild ducks. Lu Fun has never done such a thing. The Xia family did not split up, and the eggs that she usually saved were all brought into the city by her mother-in-law and sister-in-law to sell. Day village takes 2 hours to walk to the county seat, and no one will go to the city if nothing happens. But Xia Xiaolan was eloquent, but Lu Fun couldn't speak to her daughter, and was accustomed to obedience, so she couldn't find anything to refute. The mother and daughter each ate a sweet potato. Lu Fun thought that if he was going to sell duck eggs in the city, he would have at least 2 baskets. She ran outside and got some reed poles back. Lu Fun made 2 small baskets. Without tools or soaking in water, it will be broken if it takes less than a month. Lu Fan pressed the reed basket with a stone and placed it in the river for soaking, quite disgusting with her own craftsmanship. Xia Xiaolan already thought it was a weaving handicraft. Anyway, neither Xia Xiaolan would know this stuff. The mother and daughter were going to be egg thieves at night, so they hurried to sleep after making up the basket. The door was unlocked and held with wood, and there was no bed in the house. Xia Xiaolan spread a clean reed pole on the ground. Fortunately, it's August, otherwise this old ruined house with air leakage would have to freeze people out of trouble. There was no alarm clock, there was something in her heart, and she didn't sleep for long. Xia Xiaolan was awakened by the rustling sound. It turned out that Lu Fan had already retrieved the reed basket from the river. You'll sleep for a while, Mom will find it first. The reed leaves are so hot that they are cut on people, or the wild duck eggs are placed there, how can no one pick it up? This is a hard job. Lu Fan doesn't want her daughter to suffer. Xia Xiaolan was originally delicate and didn't do much farm work. Xia Xiaolan shook her head, 2 of you will go together. The 2 found it fast and safe. They didn't even have a flashlight, so they could only be in the moonlight. Fortunately, the moonlight tonight is great, and tomorrow will definitely be a sunny day again. Xia Xiaolan's mother and daughter carried the small baskets, looking for them in remote places as much as possible. Wild ducks were scared to fly when they touched the reeds, and finally touched the duck nest, which was empty. When the first nest of eggs was found, the dogs in the cowshed were shocked. The lonely old king watching the bullpen was very alert. Who is there? The flashlight flicked twice, and Lu Fan blocked Xia Xiaolan behind him, very faceless. Uncle, it's me, picking up some duck eggs to make up for the child. The army's family. Lao Wang saw that the mother and daughter were covered in grass scraps. Day Village knows about Xia Xiaolan being kicked out of the house, and the old man doesn't like Xia Xiaolan very much. Even if there is no style problem, this girl has no elders in her eyes, and she doesn't even scream. But Lu Fan was very pitiful. Xia Xiaolan's forehead was wrapped in gauze. Lao Wang thought for a while and handed Lu Fan the flashlight in his hand. Return me tomorrow. Lu Fan's grateful eyes were red. Xia Xiaolan thought, Day Village is not all a bastard, she is also very sincere. Thank you, Grandpa Wang. Old Wang was a little surprised. He glanced at Xia Xiaolan, led the dog back to the cowshed, and no longer cared about the mother and daughter. With the help of a flashlight, this wild duck nest suffered. The mother and daughter Xia Xiaolan walked for a few hours and picked up 70 or 80 wild duck eggs. They packed them in 2 reed baskets. Lu Fan was a little confused. In addition to duck eggs, they also found a nest of ducklings that had hatched. You can feed it. The hairs on her body are all grown, and Lu Fan is very happy. Xia Xiaolan thought of the ruined house that guards against the gentleman but against the villain, and shook her head. If you grow up, you can't say who is cheaper, and sell it together. Lu Fan was a little bit reluctant. However, both she and Xia Xiaolan had problems eating by themselves, and raising a few wild ducks was indeed too eye-catching. The 2 went home and inspected the eggs one by one, plus the 12 that Xia Xiaolan had picked up before, and a total of 82 had not hatched. Can't wait for dawn, Xia Xiaolan and Lu Fan set off into the city together, and took out 2 sweet potatoes from the ashes, which were the rations of the mother and the wife. Baked sweet potatoes, Xia Xiaolan's first meal was fresh and wild. Eat 2 meals in a row, she was not happy in her heart. Fortunately, she had suffered a lot when she was a child, and she can still persist in this situation. If she wears a white, rich and beautiful dress, she will definitely be driven crazy on the first day. Survive in this era, and only hope for a better life. With this faith, Xia Xiaolan headed down and rushed, and when she arrived at the county seat, it was already bright. Day Village is poor, but Qinyan County has a little economic foundation. There is a large meat factory and agricultural machinery factory in the county, which feed many workers. The cattle raised in the cattle shed in Day Village are to be sold to the meat joint factory. Even the workers in the meat joint factory can catch some meat, but the eggs are not easy to buy. In the villages and towns below Anqing County, more pigs and cattle are raised, but less poultry. Where can I sell it? In the two big factories in Anqing County, where the workers are rich, the black market also revolves around these two factories. The efficiency of the meat joint factory is good, and the workers have money in their pockets. According to Lu Fun, it is better to sell them next to the meat joint factory. Xia Xiaolan did the opposite. Let's go around outside the farm machinery factory. There are many workers in the agricultural machinery factory, and Xia Xiaolan is more familiar with this kind of factory. When I walked to the farm machinery factory, it was dawn. Workers in the factory were riding bicycles. Xia Xiaolan saw several people on the side of the road who were also holding things. They seemed to be peers. It's nice. Some people were holding chickens, and some people mentioned freshly dug sweet potatoes. Today, there are no egg sellers. Competitors. As soon as I found a location, an ant with a vegetable pocket came up. The eggs sold. Xia Xiaolan didn't try to be mystical, it's wild duck eggs, all fresh. If you see it, they will be sold to you cheaper than eggs. Wild duck eggs are the same size as eggs, and if they are cheaper than eggs, they are definitely a bargain. The taste is fine or tender, which is so much. The market price of eggs costs 1.2 yuan per catty, and food stamps are also used. For eggs sold by farmers themselves, they cost 1.5 yuan if they don't need food stamps. Xia Xiaolan asked about it just now, with a mouth under her nose, and greeted people politely. Her mouth is a little sweeter, and no one is hiding the selling price as a secret book. Seeing the ant standing still, she was obviously tempted, and Xia Xiaolan knew in her heart. If you buy less than 10, you will be counted as a dime and 3 cents. If you buy more than 10, it will cost you a dime and 2 cents. If you buy more than 20, you will be a dime and a dime. Her step-by-step sales price made the ant a bit embarrassed. It's to have a cheap price. I originally wanted to buy a few, but my aunt paid for 21. Ant's life wisdom should not be underestimated. The cheap can be taken advantage of, and I didn't really lose my head. Xia Xiaolan collected 2 yuan and wiped out the fraction of the penny. She handed the money to Lu Fun, but Lu Fun never recovered. Several sellers around were also looking at Xia Xiaolan. This girl was so enchanting, she didn't expect to speak and do things very smoothly. Rebirth to 80s, Daughter-in-Law is a bit spicy. Chapter 6, Big Bone Noodle Soup is so fragrant. Xiaolan, how do you know how to sell things? Lu Feng held the money, and felt that her daughter was too clever. Xia Xiaolan asked confidently, does this still need to be learned? A few people onlookers were crying and crying. This doesn't need to be learned, so we must have lived as a dog for a long time. After a while, the ant who bought the duck eggs led several people rushing over. It's her, people haven't run yet. Lu Fen turned pale with fright, thinking that something was wrong with the duck egg. The ant led her companions to surround Xia Xiaolan. Is the duck egg still at the price just now? Xia Xiaolan nodded, of course, it's cheaper to buy more. The ant's companions talked about it and wanted to make Xia Xiaolan cheaper. Later they said that wild duck eggs were not as refreshing as eggs, and later they were picky about the size. Xia Xiaolan just laughed, the suspect is the buyer, she can let these people have a mouthful. Sure enough, seeing Xia Xiaolan's oil and salt not entering, she always greeted people with a smile, and the 3 people brought by the ant still divided up the remaining wild duck eggs. 84 eggs, sold to 4 people, all bought 21. Xia Xiaolan had already calculated it, just to seize the customer's desire to take advantage of it. Of course, all the 3 people's fraction of a penny was confiscated. I was picky before, and I really paid the money and was thrilled. What Xia Xiaolan miscalculated was that the little wild ducks she brought were not easy to sell. The city was small and there was no food left to feed the ducks. Her wild duck cubs could not be sold. 84 wild duck eggs were sold for 9 yuan and 2 cents. Xia Xiaolan gave the money to Lu Fun, but Lu Fun let Xia Xiaolan collect it by herself. Xia Xiaolan wanted to travel around the city, looking for opportunities to make money. The one that sells sweet potatoes comes up. You duckling can't change it with sweet potatoes. This person is eager to see Xia Xiaolan selling wild duck eggs. There is no place for people in the city to raise. He has a place. Xia Xiaolan really doesn't want to eat sweet potatoes. If you eat too much, your stomach will feel flatulence, but Lu Fun is willing to change it. The yield of sweet potatoes is high, and now it's harvesting time. A pound of sweet potatoes may not even be able to change an egg. Eggs are expensive in the 83rd year. Xia Xiaolan thought for a while, and asked that person to give him an integer of 20 genes, and all 8 small wild ducks would be given to him. This person is not happy. Change a pound for 1, raising Dafe will lose a lot. Of course, wild ducks that have not been domesticated will fly away. Xia Xiaolan especially seriously asked this fellow, cut off the hair on the wings, where does it fly? If you think 20 kilograms of sweet potatoes is too much, then I will bring them back and raise them by myself. Sweet potatoes are really not at a high price. Ducks can be fed with vegetable leaves, grass, and earthworms. In addition to the trouble, they don't cost food. 8 ducks are raised enough to have 2 eggs, at least 2 cents a day. 3 yuan a month, 36 yuan a year. Xia Xiaolan told the other party the account. The fellow did not bargain, and really exchanged 20 caddies of sweet potatoes for the ducklings. The mother and daughter packed the sweet potatoes in reed baskets and turned along the county seat. Lu Fun never knew that money was so profitable. The money for selling wild duck eggs plus 20 kilograms of sweet potatoes is 10 yuan. People in rural areas can eat in the fields and earn less than 200 yuan throughout the year. Part of this money is also used for seeds and fertilizers. The money that can really be saved is very small. With this money, the children in the family have to go to school. It is best. Pray that the family will not get seriously ill. 10 yuan a day, isn't it 300 yuan a month? Lu Fun can't figure out how much money he can make in a year. It's a pity that this wild duck egg is not picked up every day. Lu Fun is a pity that little duck, mom can also raise it. It is a long-term thing to cut its wings and let it lay duck eggs. Xia Xiaolan was not impatient. She knew that Lu Fun was a real rural woman and had little knowledge. In the 1980s, when news and ideas were blocked, people were honest and obedient. She had to take Lu Fun out of the ruined place in Deh village in the future. Slowly let Lu Fun change his mind. Duck cubs may not be able to feed. We can't wait for too long. Of course, we need to replace the food that is in short supply. Who knows if it lays eggs every few days? It is impossible to lay eggs 365 days a year. Xia Xiaolan explained it carefully, and Lu Fun understood it. The two went around in the county town and bought some daily necessities such as salt, candles and matches from the county town supply and marketing cooperative. Lu Fun feels distressed as soon as he spends money, but there is nothing at home. The Xia family didn't even let them bring out the bed. It's not cold in summer, but people who don't change clothes or take a bath are also bad. Xia Xiaolan originally wanted to buy some refined food at the grain store. She was asked for food stamps. She could only buy high-priced food if she couldn't get them out. Thinking about the broken house with no locks, Xia Xiaolan bought another iron lock, but didn't buy it. Food. In 1983, various tickets have been gradually cancelled in some areas. The purchase by ticket is not so strict. At least in Anqing County, some daily necessities do not need to be purchased by ticket. Of course, food stamps and meat stamps, as well as industrial rolls to buy electrical appliances, still exist. Xia Xiaolan knows that the faster the social change, the more business opportunities are in it. She knows that the time when she can buy food even with food stamps will pass completely, then she will avoid making money from it. Reselling food stamps is simply killing herself. The business opportunities everywhere are the information mismatch, and the social changes are too fast, and many people are ignorant and haven't reacted yet. She doesn't need to seize all the opportunities. As long as she seizes one or two, she will be able to jump up in the 80s. Xiaolan, shall we go back? Lu Fun is not accustomed to facing too many people, and walking around the county for a long time makes her uncomfortable. People in the city don't necessarily dress well. People's clothes are clean, unlike her and Xia Xiaolan's clothes, which are patched with several patches. At first glance, they are from the countryside. Xia Xiaolan's face-loving person originally had some unpatched clothes. She bumped her head and Hong Xia from the third family ran into the house and turned over all the good clothes. How could Lu Fan take care of this kind of thing at that time? She also counted on the gratitude of the old lady Xia and agreed to send her daughter to the hospital. Lu Fan was going back. Xia Xiaolan was hungry and desperate to think that she would have to walk for 2 hours. Eat bowl of noodles before leaving. The stall on the side of the road does not require food stamps. A bowl of big bone noodle soup is only 30 cents. The soup is milky white, and the noodles are white. Lu Fan has forgotten when he last ate such fine grains. Auntie, cook us 2 bowls of noodles. Xia Xiaolan took Lu Fan and sat on the small stool, the smell of bone broth digging into her nose all the time. Lu Fan waved his hand. If you want a bowl, just one. Why is she willing to spend 30 cents on a bowl of noodles? Xia Xiaolan didn't care about her, and directly gave the noodle shops and 6 cents. Auntie boasted while cooking the noodles. You girl is filial, the eldest girl, you will also enjoy the fate of the future. A smile appeared on Lu Fan's black and yellow face. It is conceivable that Xia Xiaolan's reputation of falling to the bottom in Sili and Baxiang, the fragrant big bone noodle soup was served, and Lu Fan had no appetite. Tutu. A large car stopped by the side of the road, the door of the co-driver's room opened, and the young man in military boots jumped down, holding 2 large lunch boxes in his hands. He was attracted by the scent of bone broth, and when he looked up, his 2 eyes stuck to Xia Xiaolan's body. Rebirth to 80s, Daughter-in-Law is a bit spicy. Chapter 7, not serious. Gudong. The young man's Adam's apple jittered and swallowed. Is the noodles too fragrant? Xia Xiaolan is so beautiful. Such a broken county, and such a stunning beauty. Pai Zi dazzled his eyes white, with water gleaming in his eyes, pointed chin, obviously a very serious blue shirt, supported by her bulging chest, suddenly became serious. There was a circle of white gauze wrapped around his forehead, and there was a faint blood stain, which became more and more pitiful. Seeing her stuttering noodles, I really want to turn into a bowl of noodles. In fact, I walked all the way in the county today, and there are such amazing eyes everywhere. Lu Fan thought that other people's attention was because the mother and daughter were wearing shabby clothes, but in fact they all looked at Xia Xiaolan. The aunt of the noodle stall knocked the bowl hard and finally brought the young man back to his mind. Do you want to eat noodles? The young man was a little embarrassed, and handed the big lunch box to the noodle shop aunt. Look at what you said, I was hooked by the noodle incense from a long distance, so I asked for 2 bowls and packed the lunch box with me. A Beijing accent. It turns out that he is not a local. Xia Xiaolan frowned. Today, someone secretly looked at her, but she was not as direct and bold as this outsider. Still not quite used to the face right now. Thinking about how she lived for decades with a bad face, it's easy to forget how good she looks right now. It is not safe to buy a lock alone, so I will buy a pair of scissors after eating the noodles. The big bone soup was tumbling on the small stove, the noodles were rolled out thin and thin, and the 2 bowls of noodles that the young guy wanted were quickly cooked. I was reluctant to leave after giving the money, and turned around 1 step at a time. Lu Fan also felt that something was wrong and accelerated the speed of eating noodles. The noodles of 3 cents were served in a large bowl. Lu Fan drank a drop of the soup in the bowl. At this time, there was no oil and water in the belly of the person. Xia Xiaolan took Lu Fan to buy a knife again. She wanted to buy a kitchen knife before. The stainless steel kitchen knife seemed to be of good quality. It was made in the Shanghai stock market, and sold for 5 yuan each. Mr. Xia turned around and left. Things are good, the money in the pocket is not spent, now think about it, you can buy a pair of scissors. The young man from the field carried 2 lunch boxes of noodles, reluctantly returned to the car, and spilled the noodle soup. Sitting in the cab is a male driver with his head cut and his face is angular, handsome from an aesthetic point of view of all ages. Look at what you are. The companion who got off the car to buy noodles was not happy. Brother Chengzi, I have never seen such a beautiful person. You want to meet, and I promise you will not move. How many big girls and little daughter-in-laws are there on Man Street in Beijing? He had never seen anyone better looking than the one just now. It's not the kind of tough looks, it's the coquettish, non-decent look, the most attractive look of a man. Let's talk about it earlier, so I'll take you on a trip like this. You can learn as much as you can. If you can't learn, you're happy to go wherever you are, or you will stay in this county town now. Lami means picking up girls in Beijing. Brother Qingzi is a bit wicked and has a bad temper. The young man who got out of the car to buy noodles would not dare to speak. The two of them finished sucking the noodles and drove away again. Two legs did not run as fast as four wheels, and after 2 streets, they happened to meet Xia Xiaolan's mother and daughter. Brother Qingzi, look at it. The young man in the co-driver's cab was so noisy, Qingzi's eyelid licked, and he saw his back. The blue patched clothes, wide and wide, made the girl's figure more and more elegant. The skin exposed behind the ears is so pale, what is not beautiful? Isn't it true that women always have 2 eyes and 1 mouth? Boring. The young man was very sorry. Yes, you have nothing to do with her. Brother Qingzi didn't take this matter to heart. The car quickly left Anqing County, and it would take 2 days to go to Shanghai. The long-distance bus was not only tired, but also afraid of encountering cargo robbery. How can I enjoy it? What a pretty girl. The foreigner with dishonest eyes reminded Xia Xiaolan to wake up, and she ran to buy a pair of big scissors. Without a pot, I can't afford it. I just bought another enamel tank to make a pair. This thing can handle the functions of cooking, filling, drinking water, etc., and it is a bargain. Add 2 pairs of chopsticks, and the original 9.2 is only 6 yuan. Xia Xiaolan dare not spend this money. Wild duck eggs are not so easy to find. Anyway, the duck nest in Day village has been looted. If you want to sell duck eggs by picking them up, you have to go to other villages relying on the mother and daughter to pick them up. Can only make a living. Xia Xiaolan wanted to start a business of reselling eggs, and she had a capital of 20 yuan in her hand, so she didn't need to go to the reeds anymore. Day village is only 2 hours away from the county seat, so are there any villages farther than Day village? Walk 3 hours into the city to sell 10 eggs for 1 yuan and 5 cents, and it takes 6 hours to go back and forth. If she uses the price of 0.12 yuan per piece, usually everyone is willing to walk 6 hours to earn the extra 30 cents. In a few days, it will be time for threshing. Even half of the older children will help out the fields. Who is free to come to the county? Sell eggs. After half a month of busy farming, the eggs at home will not be sold, and they will smell bad on a hot day. Xia Xiaolan is like seizing this special period to make a difference. An egg earns 2 or 3 cents and it doesn't make much money, 100 per day is 2 or 3 yuan. Except that it is not easy to enter the city on a rainy day, how can you earn more than 70 yuan a month? Doesn't sound too much. Xia Xiaolan had an older client in her previous life. She told Xia Xiaolan that she worked in a county guest house in the 1980s and had a monthly salary of 36 yuan. In 1983, the wealthy were self-employed individuals who started doing business a few years earlier, but these people hid so deeply that no one could see how many families they had. It is not the civil servants and career editors who can get high wages honestly. The phenomenon of brain and body upside down is serious. The wages of intellectuals are not as high as those of workers, especially in heavy industries such as oil and coal. Many workers earn 100 or 200 yuan a month. At the same time, key high school teachers cost dozens of yuan a month. The lowest income is of course farmers. If Xia Xiaolan can earn 70 yuan a month, I am afraid that the Xia family will know about it and will invite her back as a bodhisattva for offering. There is no capital in hand, and no relationship to use. Xia Xiaolan knows that the first step to make a fortune is very difficult, so let's take it slowly. With the things, the two walked for another 2 hours back to Day village. Put the things back into the broken house first, and the safety of the iron lock has improved a lot. She returned to the bullpen and returned Lao Wang's flashlight. Xia Xiaolan felt that the wound on her forehead was itchy, so Lu Fan asked her to go to the health station to change her dressing. Xia Xiaolan also attached great importance to this problem, running around in sweat, and she was also afraid of wound infection. Dressing is not expensive, mainly to disinfect the wound. The doctor still has a bit of medical ethics, unlike a woman with a long tongue, and carefully showed Xia Xiaolan at the wound. "Don't worry, the recovery is pretty good, it doesn't seem to leave scars." Xia Xiaolan breathed a sigh of relief. "I make you bother." The mother and daughter came out of the sanitation station. Lu Fan pulled Xia Xiaolan's sleeves. "Is that your uncle?" "The Xia family is at the head of the village, and a small man is arguing with Granny Xia. Anyway, your Xia family has a black heart, and killed my sister and niece. If you don't hand them over, I will smash the Xia family." Rebirth to 80s, Daughter-in-Law is a bit spicy. Chapter 8, Uncle is here. That figure, that look, is Lu Fan's eldest brother Lu Yong, right? Anyway, in Xia Xiaolan's memory, her uncle Lu Yong loved her more than her father Xia Dejuan. The two women were bullied by the Xia family, and finally someone came to give Xia Xiaolan's mother and daughter a head start. Affected by the remnant emotions of the original owner, Xia Xiaolan's eyes suddenly became hot. "Uncle, here I am." Lu Yong grabbed the old lady Xia, the blue veins in her neck jumped high, and he wanted to rush in and smash Xia's house. Hearing a soft voice, he turned his head to see that it was his poor niece. He lost the old lady Xia and stepped forward quickly. "Xiaolan, where have you been with your mother?" Lu Yong is a mason, and he helps people build houses in the slack season. Yesterday, when he came back from Linxian, he just heard about Xia Xiaolan. Today, I rushed to Dai village and bought sugar and dried noodles from the supply and marketing cooperative. I also wanted to support the mother and daughter. The Xia family accepted the gift and told Lu Yong that Xia Xiaolan's mother and daughter had moved to the old house on the river beach. Lu Yong went to the old house again to find someone, but of course he was empty. Lu Yong was suspicious that the Xia family had lost the people. He stayed at the Xia family for a long time, and asked Granny Xia to hand over the mother and daughter. Rural areas generally eat 2 meals, one at 9 or 10 in the morning, and one at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. The Xia family was still waiting for the afternoon meal, and the old lady Xia was about to rush people, and the two of them quarreled from the house to the outside before the scene just now happened. After hearing what happened, Xia Xiaolan quickly comforted her uncle. "We are now living in an old house in the river beach. Because we were in a hurry, my grandma gave 20 kilograms of sweet potatoes. Even if there were no pots and pans, the clothes and quilts were forgotten to let us take. No, I'm talking about taking them away. I met my uncle." Lu Yong saw his niece standing in front of him alive, and he finally lost most of his heart when she mentioned her throat. Xia Xiaolan's head was wrapped with gauze strips and replaced with a small piece of gauze to stick to the wound. It didn't look so scary. Lu Yong became angry again. "Xia Dejuan let the family bully your mother and daughter? What moved to the old house in the river beach?" The house was broken and even the dogs disliked it. Wherever they could live, the mother and daughter Xia Xiaolan were clearly driven out. Old lady Xia's face was terribly ugly. When she saw Xia Xiaolan's mother and daughter appear, she thought that they had lived in the old house all night and found it difficult to endure. This was because they had gone home to beg for mercy. She imagined that even if Lu Fan took Xia Xiaolan to kneel on the ground and begged, she would not let go of agreeing, but Xia Xiaolan said that she would get things and drove them out. What else could she have? But Lu Yong is here. Lu Yong is different from the wimpy Lu Fan. If you say you smashed the Xia family, you really dare to smash it. Old lady Xia's expression was distorted. "Her uncle, you heard it, this is because they have a good house to live in. You touched their conscience and said, is there any daughter-in-law who left her mother-in-law aside? I am useless. The old woman can't control anyone, wait for the army to come back and let him figure it out by himself." Those who watched the excitement all talked and talked to help Granny Xia. Lu Fan was crumbling, and the whole person shrank into a ball. Lu Yong felt that he might as well point to his niece if he counted on his sister. Xia Xiaolan might have gone through the matter and spoke more organized. "It's not too much to watch the excitement, isn't it? It's our family's business. You can make room for you, so why don't you go back?" Lu Yong blasted the women with long tongues away. Xia Xiaolan liked Lu Yong's style of work, and coupled with the emotions left by the original owner, she also felt close to Lu Yong's uncle. "Uncle, when my dad comes back, maybe he will kill me, what do you say?" Lu Yong glared, he dare. His wife and children couldn't protect him, and Lu Yong looked down on Xia Dejuan very much. However, Lu Fun was dedicated to protecting the Xia family, and Lu Yong hated iron but not steel. Just talk about this, Lu Yong had heard the rumors, Xia Dejuan really didn't know when he was in a neighboring town. The big brothers of the Xia family, all arms are as thick as women's thighs, and they stand together to help Xia Xiaolan. Who dares to chew his tongue? Let the rumors spread all over the country and ruin Xia Xiaolan's reputation. How good is a big girl, can she not be so angry that she hit the pillar? Thinking about it this way, living in Xia's house is really seeking a dead end. Lu Yong squeezed the old lady Xia to open the door. Go, move your clothes, I will call you the shots today. Don't live in the broken house, and go home with me. Moving to Xia's old house is different from going back to her natal house. Lu Fan's footsteps were weak, but Xia Xiaolan was happy all over. She didn't want to live in her uncle's house for a long time, but she could go there to do business. Those people in Day village would sell eggs to Xia Xiaolan to be a ghost. Lu Fan didn't dare to move, so Lu Yong let Xia Xiaolan pack up. The third aunt's voice was shrill and piercing. Uncle Xiaolan, you don't have any leeway to do things, and you have to break up their family of 3. Can you support them for the rest of your life? Zi Linyang's family can only persuade peace but not divide. Xia Xiaolan can get out, anyway, she is also a young lady. Lu Fan is an old scalper who needs to be used at home. Aunt Lu will have to do Lu Fan's work if she is absent one day, and she finds it difficult to endure. Lu Fan shuddered even more. She also knew that Lu Yong was serious this time. There was a mess in her mind, and after a while she felt that her house was going to be separated according to her brother's wishes. After a while, I thought that even the uncles came to give Xiaolan a head start, but Xia Dejuan, the father, has not come back. Is there really no complaint? There is a grudge. It's just that she has been cowardly for a long time, and she dare not say anything about resentment. Xia Xiaolan sneered, third aunt, my uncle can't support me for the rest of my life, can you raise it? Let Hongxia from your family return my clothes, and I will take it with me. The third aunt suddenly turned off. There is no man in the Xia family, and the whole family is arrogant but Lu Yong. The wind rushed into her house under Xia Xiaolan's feet, and the shoes under the bed were not hers. It was only one night, and Xia Hongxia couldn't wait to move in. The wooden box in the bed is all Xia Xiaolan's belongings. It is closed by a big iron lock, and the key is hung on Xia Xiaolan's neck. I didn't expect that there would be a chance to take it away. Xia Xiaolan came out holding the box laboriously. Lu Fan didn't dare to pack his own things, and Mrs. Xia's perennial oppression of her went deep into her bones. Lu Yong does not have the surname Xia, if he goes to the house to search, the nature of the matter will change. But Xia Xiaolan dared, let the old lady Xia's face black like the bottom of a pot, she ran to put Lu Fan's clothes. Lu Fan had few clothes together, they were all in tatters, Lu Yong saw it. Frowned straight. Uncle, we still have some rations in the old house. Lu Yong waved his hand. Take it together. I came by bike today. No, a brand new 28-bar bicycle is placed next to the wall. How can a bicycle like this cost more than 200? Lu Yong is a mason's great worker. He can get 2 yuan in wages a day. Xia Xiaolan thought, is her uncle making a fortune? Rebirth to 80s, daughter-in-law is a bit spicy. Chapter 9, I have changed my mind. No wonder, the Xia family's attitude is so gentle today, and Sapo is also controlled within a certain range. The brand new bicycle with 28 bars shocked the Xia family. The Xia family bullied Lu Fan, regardless of Xia Xiaolan's life or death, because there was no one to stand for them. Lu Yong had been in charge before, but he was too poor to jingle and couldn't speak hard. He is now willing to support Xia Xiaolan's mother and daughter, and he has the confidence to support them. For these difficult women in the Xia family, he has to take a few steps back. Old lady Xia didn't say a word. Xia Dejuan will be back in the past 2 days. When Dejuan Xia comes back, Lu Fan himself will beg for mercy. Wherever Xia Xiaolan likes to go, wherever he goes, anyway, it is a broken shoe, Lu Feng can get rid of it together, and the woman who can't give birth to a son happens to find Xia Dajuan again. A new wife. The Xia family is not rich, but is there a golden phoenix in the Xia family, and still worry that no one will marry Xia Dajuan? Granny Xia had a good idea. No matter if Xia Xiaolan removed the torn clothes and watched the three leave, she babbled. Out of the gate of the Xia family, it's hard to come back again. Lu Yong's killer is gone, and other talents dare to come out. Mom, did you really let them go like this? Thinking of the third family, he still had to call Lu Fen back to work. Old Lady Xia triumphantly told her thoughts, and Wang Jingui, the third daughter-in-law, naturally wanted to flatter her. Then you have to marry a capable new second sister-in-law. The eldest daughter-in-law Zhang Cui is not happy. Her daughter's ability to enter the university is her own skill. She really manages everyone in the Xia family, even after Xia Dajuan's wife is married. Zhang Cui's presence in the Xia family is very low, but she is undoubtedly the smartest of the three concubines in the Xia family. Lu Fun is an old scalper, and he does the most but is unpleasant. Wang Jingui is a firecracker that burns at the slightest, and flattering can't always tell the key point. Zhang Cui changed the subject in a few words. I don't know if Ziyu and the others arrived at school, and the kid didn't say to take a telegram to come back. Telegram is expensive. Does Ziyu save money or is the family poor, or else I can bring more money for my children to go to school. Old Lady Xia's brow wrinkles are deep enough to trap flies. Wang Jingui kept his lips secretly and took the Xia family's wealth on his body. Isn't it enough to make a telegram? Old Lady Xia thought about what wrongdoing Xia Ziyu would suffer from studying in Beijing, and she felt uncomfortable in her heart. In a blink of an eye she made a decision. Their three brothers went to repair the river embankment, and the wages they earned were quickly remitted to Ziyu. Zhang Cui naturally wanted to refuse a few words, and the old lady Xia wanted to give it. Zhang Cui could only reluctantly accept grandma's heart for her daughter. This is really a different fate of the same surname. Xia Xiaolan hit the stigma and couldn't even go to the hospital, but the Xia family's money was spent with her cousin Xia Ziyu. If Xia Xiaolan heard these words at the scene, I'm afraid she can do it with Mrs. Xia. 1. The Xia family doesn't feel sorry for Xia Xiaolan, and she is also heartbroken by some people. At least Lu Yong felt heartache. How can people live in this place? Xiaolan, you should have brought your mother to find your uncle last night. The Xia family was too cruel. It wasn't that Xiaolan was forced to do nothing. Xiaolan had never been able to endure hardship, so how could she move to an old rundown house on the river beach? Lu Yong's teeth creaked, and his dislike for the Xia family was to the extreme. Hurry up and pack things up and go home with me. Lu Fen hesitated. What should I do when the army comes back? Lu Yong really hates iron but not steel. You have to defend Xia Dajuan everywhere. It's okay to be a brother, he is your man after all. But besides your man, he is Xiaolan's own father. Has he fulfilled his duty as a father? Even I have heard of Xiaolan. The matter, Xia Dajuan is deaf, can't you hear? Lu Yong turned around in situ. Xia Xiaolan shook her head at her uncle and motioned him not to say anything. Lu Fun has been thinking habitually for many years, and being able to move out with Xia Xiaolan is already a tough time. Uncle, I want to start a small business by myself, do you think it's okay? As Xia Xiaolan packed her things, she told Lu Yong about her plan to resell her eggs. She really thinks that her uncle is a rare and sensible person, who speaks and does things very openly, not that kind of ignorant and pedantic. After listening to Lu Yong, he didn't immediately express his opinion. He took out a large front door from his pocket and lit a cigarette for himself. After smoking half a cigarette, Lu Yongkai said, Uncle tells the truth, it is a good thing that you want to make money, you are sensible. But the business is not appropriate. Xia Xiaolan didn't interrupt Lu Yong. She was able to climb to the position of a senior manager in her previous life. In addition to being hard-working, she was never clever. The 1980s were very backward, but there must be smart people in this era. If Xia Xiaolan treats all the people nowadays as fools, she will fall into a big somersault sooner or later. You said, I'm listening. Seeing that Xia Xiaolan's temper has really improved, Lu Yong grinned, uncle is going to say something wrong, don't be angry, I just give a suggestion. This business is both good and tiring, maybe it will provoke it. Right or wrong, shall we switch to a lighter business? Farmers go to the city to sell some eggs and carry them in a basket. Sending more than 100 eggs to the city at one time is very troublesome for transportation, and collecting eggs is also a hassle. Eggs are fragile and are not stored. What if the eggs shipped to the city are not sold out for a while? What's more, Xia Xiaolan's face is a bit sassy, Lu Yong can't worry about letting her go to collect eggs. This business is greedy in the morning and earns hard money. It is suitable for men and not suitable for young girls like Xia Xiaolan, especially special. Beautiful girl. Xia Xiaolan considered all these things. After the initial joy, she also realized that this face was causing trouble. There are so many beautiful Peng men, and Peng men can't support them. The beauty of Peng men in the old society is to be given to the nobles. Only by hiding high-ranking households and entering and exiting the venue can safety be ensured. Xia Xiaolan doesn't have that condition right now, so she can only buy a pair of scissors for self-defense. Lu Yong said the truth, Xia Xiaolan smiled bitterly. I have a small capital, so I can only rely on this egg business to feed my mother and me. I brought her out of the Xia family, not to make her scared of being hungry. The daughter of someone else is Golden Phoenix, and she is a debt collector. Ghost. I will let her live a good life sooner or later, uncle, I was so naive before, and it makes you sad. Lu Yong, a big man feels sour nose and hair, Lu Fan must not bear it. While crying, arguing. Who said you are a debt collector? How your mother's life is not important, it is important that you live well. The three close relatives just cried with a headache. Xia Xiaolan took this opportunity to analyze her own heart and let people close to her know that she was going to wash her mind and rebehave. Lu Yong saw that his niece was upright, but he did not continue to stop her. If you want to do this business, why do you need tens of yuan in capital? How much is there still lacking? Uncle will add it to you. How much is Xia Xiaolan still missing? She only had 6 yuan in her pocket. Mr. Xia showed a rare embarrassment. Rebirth to 80s, Daughter-in-Law is a bit spicy. Chapter 10, Xia Dajuan came back and ran into it. Lu Yong didn't laugh at her. If it weren't for being forced to do nothing, who would leave home without penalties? Choosing to stay in the Xia's family can survive even if you bear the burden of humiliation, but a family can't have an eaves for shelter from the wind and rain, and a family has ties to each other, so what a family. Lu Yong felt that Xia Xiaolan had the courage, and he said that his nephew was like an uncle. He had always felt a lot of love for Xia Xiaolan. Lu Yong took out a few pieces of great unity from his pocket. You take the 50 yuan first. We will discuss how to do your business. If the money is not enough, uncle will collect a little bit for you in a few days. 10 yuan is the largest denomination of banknotes at the moment, and it is called Great Unity by the people. Lu Fan was taken aback. Brother, where did you get the money? It was a new bicycle again, and I gave Xia Xiaolan dozens of yuan. Isn't Lu Fan unclear about the situation of the Lu family? It was really poor jingle. Before Lu Yong didn't care about it, his family life in the past 2 years really couldn't go on. He took his heart and followed others to learn masons. After 1 year as a teacher and 2 years as a master, with this craft, life in the Lu family will be a little easier. But masons do not work every day. Lu Yong is not like a worker who guarantees income from droughts and floods, and his income is unstable. Lu Yong knew that his sister was a fool, and did not elaborate, only asked Xia Xiaolan to accept the money. Thank you, uncle, I borrowed this money from you. Xia Xiaolan is not hypocritical. She is indeed poor and white. With this starting capital of 50 yuan, she can seize the opportunity during the busy period of farming. After earning the money, I doubled it back to my uncle, pretending not to want Lu Yong's help, or to let her mother suffer along with her. Lu Yong smiled. He asked Xia Xiaolan to set up a handle, put the things together and tied them to the back seat of the bicycle. All the belongings of the mother and daughter are sweet potatoes and their clothes, as well as the daily necessities they bought today. Before reaching the entrance of the village, someone called Xia Xiaolan with a bowl. Your dad is back. Dajuan Xia is going to kill them. Glorious and unkind, the people in Dahe village are really unfriendly, as if Xia Xiaolan dug someone's ancestral grave. The door of the Xia family was open, and a man with a big waist came out. Where are you going? Did you fight at home with your grandma? The urn sounded annoyingly, and the arms were full of uplifted tendons, and his height was close to 1.8 meters. This was Xia Xiaolan's father, Xia Dajuan. It seems that his height is inherited from him. Xia Xiaolan was very satisfied with the growth of more than 1.6 meters in the 1980s. Lu Yong didn't give Xia Xiaolan a chance at all. He smashed Xia Dajuan when he mentioned the sweet potato bag. Oh, you are a dog. I also said that someday I will settle the account with you, and you will bump into it yourself. Who is fighting with whom? Your daughter-in-law and daughter-in-law are going to be bullied to death. You pretend to be a father, don't know. Dog stuff, who can they fight with? My sister marrying you is really bad for 8 lives. Lu Yong is small, less than 1 meter 7. Xia Dajuan, who broke out but fought, had no strength to fight back. Of course, Xia Dajuan only took care of holding his head with his arms, and didn't really mean to fight Lu Yong. Brother, if you have something to say. I'm telling you, a bird, a dog thing, it's only fleshy but not careless. It has lived on a dog for decades. My daughter doesn't know how distressed, I will do it for you. Lu Fun was anxious and wanted to pull the frame, but Xia Xiaolan held him tightly. Xia Xiaolan looked at Xia Dajuan coldly and didn't fight back from start to finish. She still had some confidence in this person. If Xia Dajuan even beat her brother-in-law, Xia Xiaolan really didn't know what to say. It's not that men can't have tempers. There are wise men who use their brains and don't do anything in this world, and there are also hot temperaments who do not agree with each other. Poor mountains and bad waters bring forth troublesome people, and the people here in Anqing County have always been sturdy. But doing things with people outside, and doing things with your wife when you go home is totally different. Xia Xiaolan despises men with domestic violence the most. Lu Yong was so tired that he was out of breath. Xia Dajuan's brothers ran out, and finally pulled the two away. Xia Xiaolan's uncle and third uncle hugged Lu Yong desperately, and Lu Yong kicked and stretched his fists unwillingly. However, Lu Yong's sturdiness also scared the villagers watching the excitement. Those who said silly words a moment ago are now all acting like a tortoise. Xia Dajuan's face was swollen, and he spit out bloodshot saliva. I don't care about you, I want to talk about Xiaolan. She shouldn't have a fight with her grandma, she made her grandma sick. Old Lady Xia is a widowed mother with 3 older sons. Xia Dajuan is not caring to his wife, but he is obedient to his wife. Xia Xiaolan thought, if she were the original owner, she would be so angry when she heard these words. She has an admiration for Lu Fun and also feels close to Lu Yong because of the lack of affection in Xia Xiaolan's previous life, and these two people are also kind to her. To Xia Dajuan, Xia Xiaolan is not half-hearted. Even if Xia Xiaolan owes Xia's family, he still has to pay for it. What else? Uncle, let's go. Xia Xiaolan wanted to scold Xia Dajuan, but after thinking about it, she was too lazy to waste her saliva. Xia Dajuan saw that she didn't get angry or argued, and the evil fire in her heart couldn't be suppressed. You stinky girl. He stepped forward and took Xia Xiaolan's arm and staggered her. Xia Xiaolan turned her head and looked at him blankly. Grandma said that I lost the face of the Xia family when I was alive. People like me should die right away. I smashed my head, and my mother knelt and begged Grandma to take me to the hospital. She swelled her head, so she invited a doctor to stop the bleeding. If you think I am not respectful and filial, then I will return the life I took to the Xia family, okay? Xia Xiaolan put the self-defense scissors against her neck, and the sharp tip of the knife had sunk into the skin. That ruthlessness was hidden in the plain tone, but it was frightening. She would really poke it. Xia Dajuan was frightened, and he subconsciously defended, you are fine with this. How can the family have the money to send you to the hospital? Why don't you learn from Shueyu and be more sensible? Looking at Xia Xiaolan's mocking eyes with a smile, Xia Dajuan's voice became weaker and weaker. Why is there no money in the family? Because the sensible Xia Ziyu took away all the family assets. Even if Xia Dajuan is habitually indifferent to his niece, he still feels that the old lady in the family has done something wrong in this matter. A guilty conscience intertwined with other emotions, and Xia Dajuan yelled. She is your milk, if you scold you a few words, you should listen carefully. If you don't do those shameful ugliness, can your grandma scold you? Xia Xiaolan didn't really want to die, she wanted to use scissors to end Xia Dajuan's club. But there was someone who was faster than her, and the small Lu Fun smashed the strong Xia Dajuan away. I fought with you, let you force Xiaolan. She was shaking with fear. But she wants to protect her daughter, this is the mother's instinct.